This isn't a story that I really share too much, but I feel like I'll share it today. Um, I had this, we had this, me and my companion, we had this one investigator. Her name was Agnes Yarley. Um, Agnes was a lot different from a lot of our other investigators. She is a refugee from Liberia, and we dropped her a couple of times. We really didn't think that she would progress. But one week she showed up at church, much to our surprise, and we went back. We just kept on teaching her. Um, and I remember as me and my companion, Elder Ramirez at the time, he was from Idaho. Um, Agnes's baptismal date was 2 weeks away, and she was struggling a little bit. We weren't sure if she was going to make it. She had a lot of faith issues, and she wasn't sure if really the church was for her or if it was true. And we just kind of kept with it. We were fairly optimistic, but at the same time, we thought that, oh great, this is another date that's going to fall through. She's not going to get baptized. And both of us were thinking it, but neither of us said it at the time. And one thing about Agnes was she didn't speak much when we taught her. So when we taught her, she just kind of stood back and she just nodded her head when we asked her if she understood what we were talking about. And sometimes we would briefly ask her to explain what we had just taught to her, but she'd get it out in her broken English. But she is a really nice lady, and we could tell that she did understand what we were teaching her. We taught the restoration, which was the first lesson, probably like 5 or 6 times to her before it actually sunk in. We taught the gospel of Jesus Christ about 2 or 3 times before it finally sunk in. But one thing that I noticed is we only taught the plan of salvation once. And, she almost got it right away. We went through the rest of the commandments and, it was pretty smooth. We were just down to those last 2 weeks before baptism, and, those are the hardest 2 weeks. But, we think Agnes is going to drop us. She keeps on dropping appointments, and, we're pretty sure that she's not going to get baptized. So we go down there one day, and everyone was there. Both of her nephews were there that also ended up getting baptized. She was there, but we went and we just asked Agnes what was up, and then she just started crying and bawling. And this is a lady that really never spoke to us unless we spoke to her and asked her a question. She never really asked us anything. She never really had any stories. But this one day she had a story. I guess there was a big civil war in Liberia, and her dad was one of the generals in the Liberian army, and he refused to fight against his people. And some of the people that were involved in the revolt, they basically said, hey, help lead our army against these other people who are still Liberians, otherwise we'll kill you. And so her father, he studied his scriptures every day. He did all that he could to follow God. He said, I'm not gonna lead this people against my people, or we're fighting each other. And so he didn't. So right in front of Agnes, he got shot in his head. And Agnes never told us this before, but her father was killed right in front of her. But anyways, the story goes on. Agnes, she tells us, and these are stories that don't happen to every missionary, and they only happen once in the mission if they do. But she told us that she saw her father. Her father came to her in a dream, and whether it be a real father or just a dream, we don't know. But I feel like this was revelation from God to Agnes, but she saw her father sharing the gospel with people in the spirit world, and he told Agnes, "Hey, Agnes." Agnes said, "Oh, I want to come there with you. I don't want to go back home." And he said, "Agnes, if you want to come here with me, then you need to join the Church of God. You need to join the church. You need to join his church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints." And he is there preaching the gospel with, I guess it was his companion, because Agnes didn't know. But he came to Agnes and he told her that her father told her that she needed to join the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which was interesting because, this is a man, he never had the opportunity to receive the gospel, but he studied his scriptures every day. He came to her and told her that. And, one thing, the most interesting part of it was, her father's name, his actual name was Davis Yarley. And that happened to be my last name. And, it kind of felt like it was pretty cool that Agnes said one of the reasons she listened to us in the first place was because she saw my last name and is the same last name as her father's, or the same first name as her father's. And, that was really one of the stories that, I took back with me from my mission. I'm sure the way I told it wasn't as spectacular as it was when it first happened, but, it was a story that hit me in a way that, me and my companion both in a way that was like, wow, this lady, we didn't think that she would progress. And it's funny because I actually left that area. I served there for 4 transfers, which is around a little less than 6 months. But I ended up going back there at the end of my mission to help train a missionary. And when I looked at Agnes, she is still active. This is around a year later. Her countenance was brighter than ever. It's like she is shining. It is a different experience. But I feel like I got to see light come into her life. And it really showed in her countenance when I went back. That was one of the greatest feelings that I had on my mission.